Leadership at the executive level does not start with a title. It begins with who you are when things really get tough, when the stakes are high, when clarity is low, and when your team is looking to you for direction. This is leadership. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 traits that have guided my leadership across the most demanding sectors, from the military, federal, and private. These traits aren't just nice to have. They're non-negotiable in today's world of transformation and pressure. So let's begin with the first trait, resilience under pressure. Let's begin with resilience because remember, this is not the motivational kind, but the operational kind of resilience. I can accomplish difficult things when many others would fail. This statement isn't ego, it's experience. Resilience is what keeps a mission alive when the blueprint doesn't match reality. In high-stake environments, whether you're consolidating legacy systems, directing cloud migrations, or leading through global-scale disruptions, there is always a moment where the easy path simply disappears. I remember one such moment during a multi-year initiative. We were responsible for collapsing over a dozen aging IT systems into 2 modern cloud platforms, serving more than 300,000 global users. Midway through, we hit a critical failure point. Unexpected data integrity issues that threatened to unravel the timeline and, worse, trust. At that point, technical knowledge just simply wasn't enough. What mattered was composure. We paused, stepped away from the noise, and reframed the issue for the team. Let's stop reacting. Let's start diagnosing. We reorganized the work stream, brought in targeted subject matter experts, and re-baselined the migration, adjusting some of the milestones, although adding clarity and trust to our execution. You see, the pivot didn't come from brilliance. It came from clarity under pressure. It came from leadership. It came from understanding that leadership isn't about doing everything right the first time. It's about knowing what to do next when the path forward is no longer obvious. You see, anyone can lead when things are smooth and easy, but it's the moments when everything stalls that define whether you lead at all. What matters then is your ability to stay in motion, to analyze, adjust, and act, to carry weight when others stall. And that doesn't mean going it alone. It means you set the tone. Your resilience as a leader becomes the team's momentum. The second trait really we want to talk about today is clarity in structure. So let's talk structure. I work best when goals are clear and the course is well defined. That's not rigidity, that's discipline. In every transformation I've led, whether migrating cybersecurity frameworks or delivering multi-year program outcomes, clarity is the multiplier. Unclear goals waste time. Unclear roles create friction. We talk a lot about agility in leadership, but too often that gets misread as chaos or, open quote, just figure it out, close quote. But clear objectives, they create alignment, speed, and focus. Structure is not the enemy of agility. It is the foundation of it. We set clear objectives, and then we built flexible lanes for teams to move fast inside those guardrails. People weren't micromanaged, they were aligned. Great leaders design that type of structure. And then they trust their people to move within it. The result? We develop a team that didn't need constant direction. They knew where they were going. They were aligned to the shared outcomes, and they found new, often more efficient ways to get there without compromising the mission. Look, it's really not that tough. It's simple. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence drives innovation. And innovation, when aligned, delivers impact. If you want agility that scales, start by defining the path. Not every step, but the purpose, the priorities, and the principles. That's what unlocks real momentum. A famous quote states, open quote, "Teach them correct principles and let them govern themselves," close quote. As a father of 6 boys, this concept absolutely works. So remember, structure doesn't slow us down. It gives us somewhere to accelerate. The third and final trait we're going to talk about today is emotional composure. So finally, composure. We don't talk enough about this enough in executive leadership, but emotional intelligence, it's not a soft skill. It's an operational advantage. When I was working at Dell, I led enterprise scale programs that touched everything from infrastructure to cybersecurity to cloud migration. One moment stands out. We were consolidating systems across business units, dozens of teams, multiple time zones, and conflicting priorities. And just as we hit a major checkpoint, one area pushes back hard. They didn't agree with the architecture. They didn't trust the timeline, and they did not feel like their voice was being heard. Now, we pretty much had 2 choices as a leader. One, you push forward and fracture the team. Or 2, you pause and realign. So I paused. Not because we weren't right, but because emotional intelligence means pacing with the room, not dragging it behind you. So there's a few things that we did to alleviate this strain and prevent a fracture. We set up one-on-one calls, brought in their engineers, acknowledged their concerns without caving into them, and then together revalidated the plan. That moment didn't delay us. It unified us. Look, here's the truth. When you stay grounded, when your tone is steady and your ego's in check, teams lean in. Because emotional regulation is not weakness. It's leadership under tension. And in transformation, that's what sustains momentum. So in closing, let me leave you with this. True leadership isn't about control. It's about being the person others rely on when control is lost. When I was at the Department of Veterans Affairs, we managed one of the largest national remote IT operations, supporting millions of users across 1,200 facilities. During a crisis when entire regions were losing access, the pressure wasn't theoretical, it was personal. Clinics couldn't schedule, doctors couldn't access records, and veterans were waiting. You don't escalate the panic, you stabilize it. You lead the call, set the tempo, assign the right people, and stay calm when systems and tempers are overloaded. That's where resilience lives, not in words, but in actions under pressure. The only reason we recovered quickly and kept trust intact was structure. We had already built the frameworks, the escalation paths, the fallback processes, and the accountability chains. We didn't guess. We executed because we were prepared. And composure, that was the currency. When everyone's watching you for signals, you don't have the luxury of frustration. You lead by absorbing the chaos and returning clarity. Whether you lead 5 or 50,000, these traits scale. Not because they're flashy, but because they're real. And real leadership, that's what transforms people, systems, and missions consistently.